Welcome to another edition of Vigorously with me, Val Kleinhands, another lovely metal guest in the building. The all girlies are taking over this episode. Please welcome the newest member of After Time, Narcissa. Hello.
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for having me. That was a great introduction, might I
Is
add.
it's the truth. It's all true. The all girlies are taking over, and we love After Time. I mean, anybody listening knows the band. We've had the band on before, so we definitely wanted to get you on and talk about all the new things coming down the pike, all the fun things, because we know there's a lot of it. But I mean, as much as we do love talking music, and we will certainly discuss that, the girlies want to be girlies, and we want to know about the wedding dress. I
Oh,
saw the photo. It is
yes.
absolutely stunning. Saw the caption that went with it. I don't know that it was like your caption or maybe it was the company that made the dress, but somebody's explained the symbolism in choosing the color blue, which you
Ah,
did for your dress. And I was like, were you aware of that before making your choice or no?
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much. So, just a little bit of background. Obviously, like you can tell, I am not a white wedding dress kind of a person. I basically was like, I want my wedding to be as magical and ethereal and out there, untraditional as possible. So, in
Yes.
that search of like trying to find a dress that worked, I came across that Goddess of the Night dress made by Elisa Perova. She goes by Alice Corsets, just a plug
Oh,
there.
okay, okay.
Wonderful, just beautiful, like beautiful dresses, and also like at a good price. So when I found that dress, I was like, this is fucking it. And also just like the symbolism of like blue being security. It's like secure in the choice of like marrying my best friend and doing the we called it our festival of love, and we didn't call it a traditional wedding. It wasn't. It was at a castle in the woods, and we had like whole playlist of like metal music and Celtic and medieval stuff. Um, and just we encouraged our guests to wear medieval outfits and things like that. But we were like talking about it like it's going to be Game of Thrones style. I mean, not Red Wedding, not Red Wedding.
No, we don't want that. We don't
We
want
don't
that.
want.
That was not the vibe. This was a very happy occasion
Yes,
from what I understand.
it was wonderful. But anyway, long story short, um, wanted something super different, and that's why I ended up choosing that one. And it's still in my closet to this day. I do intend to wear it again at some point.
Oh, how do you think you want to do that? Because I don't know. Like, I've been trying to think of opportunities for my own dress, and I did go a little more traditional with the white
Yeah, there's
because,
nothing wrong with that either.
yeah.
I should just say, like, whatever your vibe was for it's your day and that's what matters. You know what I mean? So,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe a music video one day. We'll see. Maybe a
Okay.
future a celebration of sorts. Who knows? But,
Yes.
he also made me two capes because I was like, I'm gonna go cape mode with this. So I have two
Yes.
capes and I have worn one of the capes again. So
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm going like this. I'm just like, oh, a cape.
That's where they land. The capes land on the shoulder. She's pointing to her shoulders for people that can't see, but like, yeah,
That's true.
that's where they begin, and then they kind of go pop, just out from behind and spread all their glory all over the place. I kind of wish I did a cape. I did kind of a small veil for mine. And
Mhm.
honestly, I don't know how old you are, but I think we're pretty close in age. I got married when I was 24 and I'm 35 now.
Okay.
And
Wow,
I
that was young, girl.
yeah, well, because probably similar situation, I just knew.
You
The
do.
guy, my husband, he's still my husband. We met it. Thank God he's still my husband. We met in high school, and we were
Oh,
just
wow.
together ever since, essentially, to
So
make a very
cool.
long story short. So there was absolutely no question that like it was him and it was gonna work. But
Right.
we because we got married so young, I wonder if I were to redo my wedding at my age now, if it would
Hmm.
be completely different and I feel like I would have way more control and a little bit more of a voice than I
Sure.
did
Sure.
the first time
Yep.
around because every like particularly older boomer women, like shout out to y'all. I know you're looking for us, like you're looking out for us, but sometimes the opinions were just too much.
Yeah,
It was too much. And in
yeah.
some cases I was like because it wasn't constructive, it was more like, well, are you gonna do this? Are you gonna do
Mhm.
that? I'm like, ma'am, I'm the one that hasn't been married. I'm the one that has
Yeah.
not been married. Like, no, I don't know. So if you think there's something I absolutely need to do, I probably don't know about it. Was that your situation too? It sounds like yours was so much more chill
You
and way
know
more what
what?
you wanted.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so just a little bit of background. I, like you, have known my husband forever. Like
Mhm.
I was 20 when we started dating. I'm almost 33. So,
We're
we've been
close.
together.
Okay.
Yeah, we're close in age. And so yeah, I knew he was the one. I knew he was the one. When we decided to get married, we came to the conclusion that we're gonna do this our way. And like we kind of told both of our parents, we were like, hey, listen, we have a really strong vision for this wedding, and this is what
Period.
we're gonna do. And they were super supportive of it. And we
Hmm.
kind of kept them each in the dark, and they were very good sports about it, I have to say. I mean, there were
Oh, yeah.
pushing
Mine would
point.
never. Mine would never. They would, no, I need all the details immediately. Like shout out. So shout out to your loved ones.
Yes, our
Really.
loved ones are fantastic, and they were very supportive of it. And when the event itself culminated, we also had some really great people that were like totally on board with it. Like we had a cake that was in the shape of a castle, and we had like these long, I call them like the Hogwarts tables, like the
Yes.
long
Like meat
wooden
hall
tables.
tables.
Exactly. And
Hmm.
we found out this alternative wedding planner. Shout out to Mariah. I'm going to send this to you later. She's fucking
Wow.
awesome, but like it took a while to like find the right person and to find the right people to carry out the vision. But we also did it within a decent budget. So like
Mm.
honestly, it can be done. And it was more just a matter of us kind of standing our ground, like, you know what? We're sick of like, these typical weddings. We're like, we're gonna fucking have a party. That's really what this is
Period.
about. We're gonna have a party. We're gonna do this, and then afterwards, we had like a karaoke party at our house, and I was like, I'm gonna sing "Divine Wings of Tragedy" by Symphony X. It's 17 minutes
Yeah.
long. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
I'll be here all week. Thanks.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, that's fabulous. So was you probably made maybe the at least in our wedding because we are big music nerds. I'm sure you and your husband are music nerds
Oh
as
yeah.
well.
Oh
That
yeah.
was absolutely that probably was the most important part, not gonna lie, that the
Oh
music
yeah.
was right.
100.
Everything else we could bend a little. We were flexible about that. Like, but that absolutely not. We're like, no, we need to have the music this
Yes.
way.
What did you have? Did you have a band or did you do like a DJ?
I did a DJ and I did that intentionally because I wanted to make sure there was a variety of stuff playing.
Hell yeah.
And I wanted to make sure that, yes, there was the metal that him and I love. Our first dance was to Typo Negative.
Oh my
And
God. Hold up.
right,
Hold up. Which song?
September Sun, what was yours? Which is a horrible song to do it to, but it
But
was,
it's so
it
like
is a breakup song.
heartbreaking.
I
It's
know.
so funny. Also, Type O Negative is one of my top three favorite bands. So fuck
Of
yes.
course. Of
Um,
course.
yeah, 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 yeah. That's so cool. Okay, I'm
We,
sorry. It, like,
but we
totally
chose
breaks-
it right. I mean, and yes, it is kind of essentially a breakup song, but but that meant something to us because we used to listen to that specific one and watch the sun like when we would go hiking.
Oh,
And so to us it meant something completely different and that's why we were cool with it. But I want point is I wanted to make sure that we had metal like that we loved and then we need some Spice Girls and Backstreet and NSYNC for the girlies.
hell yeah.
Okay, for
Hell
me, we need that for my friends. Him and his guys have their metal. My parents have like their Whitney Houston and Rick James and Tony
Oh
Braxton,
my
and
God,
like
amazing.
I was very particular about that. I was like, no, I really do want to make sure that we have what we want, but that there is something for everybody. So,
Yeah.
how did you craft your wedding playlist?
Oh my gosh. So we actually did a whole we would set aside time after work every day and we would be
Hmm.
like, okay, these are all our favorite songs. Okay, we got to get some Fin Troll on there. And we did this whole
Yes.
very nerdy thing where it's like we started with like very Celtic, calm, magical music that we played as people were entering the grounds and kind of wandering the grounds. Then we went into like kind of more upbeat Celtic-y, medieval-y stuff like Blackmore's Night, Fawn kind of stuff.
Wow.
And then we went into like folk metal vibes where it's like
Okay.
Control and Sephirum, that kind of thing. And then,
Yes.
so my husband's father is Lebanese, so we also had some like Lebanese music moments, which
Yeah.
was really fun. And we also gave each of our four parents an opportunity to choose a song of their own that's meaningful to us each. So like my dad picked a Madonna song because that's what he and I would dance to when I was a little kid, stuff
Right,
like
right, right,
and
right.
my mom chose
Right.
Jethro Tull because I was literally born to Jethro Tull. It was playing when I was entering the world. My mom is very
Like
ethereal
in the delivery room?
in the fucking delivery room.
What song?
She can't remember. She's like, I just
Oh,
made
okay.
a
She just knows it.
mixtape, but like she
Oh,
brought a
okay.
boombox. This was like 1992. So
Okay. So this
yeah,
is but now okay, so the folky elements into what you're doing now
yeah,
make a lot of sense.
it totally
Now
makes
it makes
total sense.
sense.
It totally makes,
Okay.
yep. But to your question about like music, we actually performed, Basil and I performed a song at our own wedding, which I
Hmm.
was nervous. I don't really get nervous before performing on stage, but I was nervous for this because I was like, all eyes are on me. This is my
Mm.
wedding. It's acoustic, so it's like very quiet and calm. So it's an original song that he wrote called Until the Raven Calls. And it's a Spirit of the Woods song. So he has a project that's outside of the metal world. It's like electronic folk. And I
Hmm.
will sing on it as well. And I do sing on it, I mean. But like this is a song that we created together. We performed that at our wedding. And
Yeah.
turned out really nice according to the videos that I saw. But I was so fucking nervous for it.
You're glad there's video to remember it later because you black out in those moments. Like,
I was like, shit. But
yeah.
yeah, it was fucking a rad time. Anyway, I know I could talk to you about like our respective weddings and music forever, I think.
Forever. Trust me. But that does bring me to something interesting because I've talked to other musicians before about that subject where like they're afraid to play in one specific environment and in a completely different one they're totally comfortable.
Yeah,
And because anybody hearing you just now would be like, "What are you kidding me? You play to 1,000, 5,000 people at a given time,
right,
somewhere in there, and
right.
all eyes are on you in that instance too." And it's like, but here's my observation as a fan. I'm like, no, 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 no. And I'm sure musicians know this too, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. In a metal show environment, at least in metal shows, or maybe even pop shows, or too, not every single eye is quite on you. Sometimes it's just party mode.
Totally party mode.
And
Totally.
that's where the difference is. And people
Yeah.
don't talk about that.
Yes. And people aren't like, when you're at a wedding, for example, and this is a ceremony, like people are just sitting there staring at you and it's quiet as fuck. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And at a show, it's so loud. There's so many other things going on that I don't get so like nervous about that. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Hmm.
it's going to be loud, like you said, no one's going to be, not everybody's going to be staring at me this whole time. And like, just fucking own it.
Yeah.
So I'm pulling my Lisa Rinna out. Own it.
Own
Okay.
it. Own it. Dude, I miss her on Beverly Hills. I really do. I do
Oh,
miss her. I
love
wish she would come back, but I don't think she'll do it. I think
oh,
her and Andy Cohen are like have issues now. And
yeah.
I think that bridge has been burned. But I would love to have it. She's
Uh,
hysterical.
she's wonderful. Like,
She
what a character.
So, in the middle of all of that, you're navigating multiple projects and you
Yes.
become a new mom. How is mom life?
Oh my goodness. So, yes, I did give birth to my son last April. So he's 10 months old now, which is fucking crazy.
Wow, it goes
Um,
so fast.
it really does go so fast. Like
Yeah.
he's almost walking. He's said his first word a couple nights ago, by the way.
What do you
Um,
say?
he said, "Mama."
Oh, perfect. Perfect. Slam dunk.
Glad you know who I
Perfect.
am, honey. Thank you. I'm glad to be recognized in that way. Um, you know what? Momhood, being a mom, it is incredible in every sense of the word. Like there are peaks and there are valleys. Like
Hmm.
let's just be real. Let's just be real. It is probably the hardest thing I've ever done. It is the most important thing I've ever done. But it is fucking hard. I also love my son so much, and he is the light of my life. And every time I see him or see like pictures of him at daycare, it totally brings a smile to my face. And I love hanging out with him. He's just a character in and of itself. But I mean, it's not without its challenges. Like after giving birth to him, that was probably hormonally mostly, but like the hardest part of my life. Like
Yeah.
I went through some postpartum shit, like the hormonal ups and downs. The I could talk about that for a while, but it is difficult. It is
Yeah.
difficult. And then things got slowly better, like as everybody who had given birth before would said, they reassured me it gets better, and it does. And
Good.
like to me, it's important to maintain my own identity and not just keep sacrificing time or things. I want to be maintain who I am so I can be an authentic human for my son to look up to.
Right. Is that why there's such an importance placed on being pretty active in metal with multiple
Yeah,
projects?
totally. Totally. Because I'm like, this is also part of my life. I'm a mom and my family will always be first. And I think that's important. But it's also important to like, you know, live my life and to like be part of and be out there and sing and things like that. So totally. Totally.
Yeah. So as that transformation's happening, another one's happening, and that is the news around after time. We get the news. You are the new singer. I would love to hear your origin story with all of that and just as a singer in general. Like, did
Yeah.
you always love to sing and were you hoping to be part of after time? Just all of it.
Oh my God. So all of it. So okay, I'll talk about the aftertime piece first. So they actually discovered me from my YouTube channel, which I
Hmm.
was like, wow, all these YouTubes. I can't believe it. Like wow. This
It
is like
works
paying off.
sometimes.
It works. It works. Yeah, and they were very professional, respectful. They're wonderful humans. And so they reached out to me and Sarah was very involved as well, which is
Mm,
important to me to like have that like passing of the torch and just like to also get to know her and like get to know what her experience had been like and things like that. And as I feel like being a fan in the metal scene, it's like sometimes you just see like these transitions happen and you're like, what the fuck happened like behind the scenes or
yeah,
whatever.
and then you never know. You never know what
Yeah.
happened. There's like
You never know.
silence.
Yes, and there's like
Silence.
silence and speculation. But with
Right.
this, it was just totally like welcoming me with open arms. Even her parents, I met her parents at the show
Wow.
that they played in Denver, and they both gave me a hug. They're like, "Welcome to the family." It was very nice.
Yeah.
So anyway, she has been wonderful. She's wonderful, a wonderful resource. But yeah, so they found me from my YouTube and reached out to me to see if I was interested. At the time, I didn't know that they were looking for a singer or anything like that, but it just the pieces kind of fell in the right spot at the right time, and
Hmm.
that's how that worked out. So I recorded a couple demos, and then they invited me to join, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, man! I get to be part of this awesome, unique symphonic metal band," because that's one of my favorite subgenres for sure
Yeah.
in the metal scene. Um, and I feel like they're one of these bands that really is, I don't mean to use the phrase again, but super unique and like they create really cool, interesting music. And I feel like there can be a lot of filler in this subgenre, but they are not one of those bands. Like this
Mm-mm.
is, and it's not, I'm not just saying that because I'm now a member. Like they really are a wonderful group of songwriters and musicians, and I'm so
Yeah.
excited to be part of them. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, man, to answer your question about like my origin story of singing in general, I kind of just fell into it by accident. And I know that sounds like kind of ridiculous, but I mean, I was in fifth grade choir. Let's be real. I was in
It
fifth grade
always starts in
choir.
choir. I've heard that so from so many singers. It's some version of choir, whether it's church or school. Like it's some version of choir or theater that starts it
Yes,
all.
exactly. And I mean, quite frankly, that was basically it. And then a few like maybe 6 years ago, I started to take this seriously, where
Mm.
about 6, 7 years ago, I started fucking around where I'm talking about fake singing, and I'm using air quotes right now for those who are only
You-
listening. Um, fake singing, and my husband's gonna laugh so hard when I say that
What
because
is fake singing? Yeah.
it's just kind of like fucking around, like not really putting any power behind it. It's just kind of like, like just fake shit that I'm
Like
doing.
trills like whoo or
Yeah,
what
or
or like
yeah, like singing along to like Queen's Wreck or something in the car.
hmm
And
hmm
at the time, my husband's like, I think you might actually have something there. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, right. You're just saying that. You're just saying that because you're my boyfriend at the time or whatever. And he's like,
Yeah, okay, yeah.
no, for real. And I'm like, okay, all right. So I started taking lessons and I was doing a lot of self-taught stuff. And anyway, and then it just kind of evolved. I started doing the YouTube stuff. And then I was invited to sing with Powerglove on a couple recordings
I
and
love
stuff.
Powerglove. I love
Dude.
Powerglove. Their
Fuck
shows
yeah.
are so much fun. I've seen them open for Symphony X before, and
Oh,
their shows were so much fun. That was the tour, that particular tour was the one that Nevermore dropped out of
yep.
because
That is correct.
they broke up, like literally they broke up. I think Jeff Loomis left, like, I'm not even kidding, maybe 8 days before we were
Yes.
supposed to see them. It was something very close like that. And it
Hmm.
didn't matter because Power Glove made it fun. Symphony X extended their set, a full version of the Odyssey, full
Oh
version
yeah.
of the Odyssey.
That's my favorite song by them for sure.
Yes. And I was like, I had a great time. I had a
Yes.
wonderful time. But
Yes.
I back to singing though, like so you mentioned lessons. At what point did you sit down and say, "Okay, I'm hearing this chatter, I'm enjoying what I'm doing. Now I want to sit down and take it seriously and actually get lessons."
Yeah, so I mean quite honestly, like taking real lessons, I didn't actually start taking real lessons till after I gave birth and my diaphragm was shot to shit and I was like
Oh, I
I
didn't know.
joined this
Wow.
band. So I was doing self-taught lessons. I was doing self-taught lessons all the way up, like an online course thing where I'm like
Okay.
self-taught doing audio, like kind of like doing following along in an instruction book for music theory, like basic stuff. Because I'm very self-directed if I have the time for it, which has been hard now that I'm a mom. Um, yeah, so it wasn't until after I gave birth that I was like, I really need to find a vocal coach because I need to rebuild the strength and also I want to hone the technique. I have an inkling of what I'm doing, but there's nothing like someone talking back to you and telling you what you're doing or like what you could do differently. So I'm actually working with Kristen Starkey, who sings with Twilight Force and Temperance,
Mhm.
and she's a doctor of music and she's fucking wonderful. I'm so glad that I found her because she's not only a wonderful coach, but she's also become like a true friend. So anybody who's looking to sing, just a plug out there, looking to sing, judgment free zone, check her out. She's awesome.
That's perfect. I gotta tell you, when I did look at your YouTube, and I mean, obviously, I looked at it after knowing, once the aftertime announcement was made, then I started looking, and I was like, okay, I see why they chose Narcissa because to my ear, and I'm not a professional by any means, I'm not a professional musician in any way, I'm just a fan.
Hell
But
yeah.
to listen to my ear, I was like, her range and Sarah's range are very similar. I was
Hmm.
like, okay, so this makes sense. This
Yeah.
makes sense. Like they probably, I mean, I'm sure I know they take what they do seriously. I remember them doing like a week long like summer camp where they just get together and they like write every summer.
Yeah.
Like they probably still do that, but it made a lot of sense given how seriously I know they take the Aftertime project as
Yeah.
a whole. And I was
Totally.
like, okay.
Thank
Did
you.
you feel like did you feel like it was a natural fit too when you
Yeah,
first
I did.
joined?
Did. And because at the time they sorry, I'm like getting over a cold, so excuse me for like clearing my throat. I'm gonna try to do
It's
it off
okay.
mic because I know it can bother people.
It's
Sorry,
the
everybody.
season. It's the season.
It,
It really
yeah.
is.
I thought I was gonna get sick from the cruise. No, I got sick from my child's daycare. So that
Oh,
is
that'll do it.
motherhood in a fucking nutshell. Um, yeah, dude. So when they approached me, it was like a year before publicly announced Sarah um leaving and me taking the torch. Um, and they had sent me the new record that was yet to be released, and I listened to it in a full setting, and I was like, "Damn, this is amazing." I was like, "I want to be. This is a band I want to be part of." And like right up there, "Sons of Fenrir" to me is a song that is like right up there with like Epica and like all the greats to me. And like that's it just has such a punch to it, and that's why we wanted that to be the song that I got introduced to the world
Right.
with.
I was going to ask about that because I was curious if there was a reason as to why you chose that specific one. That's why. That's the one that resonated with you most. That was the one that you felt had the most impact. So,
Totally.
how are you? I mean, Power Glove on occasion,
Yep.
other metal projects, after time, how are you staying mentally healthy among it all?
That is such a good question. And how much time do we have to talk about this?
All the time. All the time.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Mental health is so important. And I feel like it's just people over the last decade, I want to say, are like waking up to how important
Yes.
your sanity is, or one's sanity, I should say. Um, and it's been tough, as I've alluded to earlier. I was struggling after my son's birth, not gonna lie. I'm doing a hell of a lot better now, but it's because I got the help that I needed. Um, and even before that, like I'm just gonna be real, I do have depression, so I do take it.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, so thank you for having
Welcome.
me. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here. Um,
A lot of us do.
yes. And I mean, it's just important about being honest about like where we are. And I'm like, okay, you know what? If I need to take an antidepressant as a baseline to like
Mhm.
regulate myself and then I can function as a human being, so be it. Doing therapy, all that kind of stuff. But to me, it's especially nowadays with being a new mom, with not really having any built in me time anymore, it's
Mm.
become ever more important to communicate like with my partner, with my husband, to be like, hey, I need to recharge my batteries tonight. Like, I need to just sit and watch an episode of Golden Girls or like whatever the fuck it is. That's gonna
Yes.
give me some life back because I'm an introvert. I love people, but I'm just like that's how I recharge my batteries. And if I'm tired or if I don't get enough me time or that time to just like kind of sit there and do that self-care, whether it's like reading an article or whatever the hell it is,
Mhm.
playing like 5 minutes of Final Fantasy because that's all I can squeeze out, stuff like that. Then, I will burn out. I will burn out and the candle will go out and it's not going to be good. So, it's about communication, it's about being realistic, and it's also about like advanced planning. Now I have to do advanced planning. I was never the type of person that blocked my calendar. Like
Mm.
doing that, that's one of the things that I learned through therapy is like I kind of suffer. I don't know if tell me if you're like this too, where it's like you
Mhm.
constantly feel like you have to do shit and be productive.
Yes. Well, it's more for me, it's more of a people pleasing reflex. I'm
Mm,
like, when somebody wants me to do something, 9 times out of 10, I will make the fucking time.
yep.
I will try my hardest. But
Mm,
then I've found myself continually hitting these walls where I would overcommit and I'd just get like irritable and just like pissed off for no reason.
yeah.
And like literally no reason. And I'd be like, why am I like here all the time? Like at a high, like my energy is just amped. I'm like, what is wrong? Like, why am I a bitch today? Like I will call myself a bitch. I'm like, why am I so like the littlest thing, like somebody walking too close to me would be like irritating, like, oh,
Oh
watch where you're
yeah.
going. I'm like, that's not normal. That's not normally me either, more importantly. And those are my signs where I'm like, okay, so I'm not happy about something. Let's maybe dive into that. And for me, journaling has been
Mm,
a really good place to just get that word vomit out so that I can maybe find some nuggets in
nice.
there that'll give me clues like, oh, I'm upset because I booked, 5 interviews in one day today.
Oh,
And I didn't and I didn't take a lunch or whatever.
oh
Like
my stars. Oh, that gives me anxiety just
like
thinking.
like that's why. But I would do it because I wanted to be as accommodating as I possibly could, and on top of that, have a full-time job and blah 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 blah. And
Yeah.
I was like, no 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 no. We need to maybe only open up the schedule gradually and just kind of like make the changes that you need to make once you get your mind in a clear enough space where you can start to pick out those clues. That's kind of what that's what worked for me. And I've done medication, done the therapy,
Yep.
all the above. Like,
Yeah.
and it's good. I mean, for me, the medication at least would keeps me at like a it keeps me at like, okay, my lows are not so drastically low,
Yeah.
and I'm not so amped up about something that I feel like I have to react to it. But then I'm also kind of like a little bit numb and a little
Mm.
bit of a zombie
Mm.
in my own opinion.
Yeah.
And then
So you're
I'm
kind of like
like,
typo negativing it out with
kind
that.
of literally, maybe that's where it comes.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
no, those are just some general things that kind of like they worked for me, and I understand why a lot of people just run into the same types of problems and why they do say, yeah, I have to time block. Like I
Yeah.
call it time blocking. Like they have
Yeah.
to time block because you really truly only have so much capacity to and bandwidth to like do something. It literally is kind of like the internet. It's like, no, I can't give my full effort to X right now, but maybe I can in a week, or
Yes.
maybe I can in a month,
Yes.
whatever it is. Like, I'm the kind of person that I don't like to do something half-assed. I don't.
Me neither. Me
And
neither.
so I regularly will make schedule changes if I see,
Yeah.
hmm, this direction is not where I'm going. Like I'm thinking about going back to like once a week episodes instead of I was doing like three. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
Oh,
because I want more lead time to promote these and
yeah, of
all this type
course.
of stuff, and just
Mm.
kind of learning as you go and learning as you do it. And I would hope that anybody listening to this understands it. Like you can absolutely make those changes, but you
Yes.
got to put yourself in a quiet enough space to like hear yourself
Yes. And I feel like
first.
what you're saying is so, it resonates with me so much because it's like giving yourself permission to say no, to protect your own mental health and to protect your own work ethic. And it doesn't mean you're slacking. And that's one thing that I am such a hard ass. I'm so hard on myself where I'm
That's an
like,
American
oh,
thing. We're
it's so
supposed to work.
yep, we're supposed to work. We're supposed to get our to-do list done and all this stuff. And like if one thing doesn't get checked off the list for the day, then you're a horrible person or whatever it is.
Hmm.
And that is not the case. And it is okay to step back and be like, you know what? This is all I can do today. And it's just as important for me to watch that episode of Golden Girls because
Yes.
that is a way that you're going to be productive the next day or
Yeah.
like the next week or whatever. And it's okay to step back and it's okay to like restructure. And then who knows, in the future, you can always go back to doing more if you want. But like, I feel like that is a completely valid thing to do.
Hmm. Constantly and just reevaluate. That's a huge, huge, huge key. I know
Mhm.
you had a ton of fun. We talked about this a little bit ago. The 70,000 tons of metal. I mean, hit.
Yes.
Had a great time with Power Glove. What was your favorite single moment from the trip?
Oh man, I love going on the cruise. It's just so much fun. Anybody who can go, please do it. It's so worth it. My favorite memory from this particular sailing was performing in the All-Star Jam. So
Mm.
so are you familiar with have you gone on the cruise before?
No,
Oh,
I'm like,
oh.
I don't know. There's something about cruises where this is just a me thing. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do them because I feel like I would feel trapped, but maybe if I did
Ah.
a metal one, I'd have more fun.
Yes, and I have to say the ship is so big that you don't feel like you're just floating on the sea. I don't know how to describe it. Like I also thought that I was going to be this is my fourth time going, my
Okay.
first time as an artist. So it was a very different experience. Still a lot of fun. But like definitely not as much of like party mode that you can get into on there. Um, but like yeah, I personally feel like it's just a way to connect with so many people from around the world and it's just
Mm.
so much fun. So, okay, all that to say, there is on the final day of the cruise, they do they call it international jamming in international waters and I'm doing the air quotes again here. um,
Yeah.
and basically it's just a bunch of artists from different bands and they perform classic metal songs together and it's just like you get thrown on stage with them. You know in advance what song you're doing or like hopefully and then you all
Oh, okay.
jam out to it. So like a couple days before I saw that the vocal slot for Kickstart My Heart by Motley Crue opened up.
So you got to choose. That was my question because I remember
Ah,
I saw the clip.
yeah,
And I'm a Motley Crue fan too, so I was like, "Oh, this is cool. Let me watch this." And so, but that was something that I was wondering while I was watching. I was like, I wonder if they have a heads up on the song they're doing, or do they get to choose the song that they're doing? So how does that work?
yeah. So they give you a list. So bands get invited to participate, and then they give you a sign up sheet of like, these are the songs that are going to be performed, and then they give you like the slots. So if there's a vocal slot open, you can take it or whatever it is. But you don't come up with the song yourself. They give you that list in advance.
Okay.
I do know that for certain songs, they request certain artists to do them. So I know that did
Mm.
happen with a couple of the songs, but most of them were just a free for all. It's like, okay, the slot opened up and you know, you do it. And everybody has a different approach. Like some people are very methodical about it, and some people are like, I'm just gonna get up there and jam,
Yeah.
and I'm like, for me, the slot opened up like 2 days before. I was originally gonna sing a different song that I wasn't as stoked about just
Oh,
from
okay.
my voice, but I was like, I gotta do this, man. It's like my chance to just like go out there and just kill it or try to kill it rather. Um, but yeah, so when Motley Crue opened up, I knew that was the one that I had to do. But needless to say, that was my highlight of the trip. It was just a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's cool to have those types of moments on video now. Like
Yeah.
that's the one thing. Like I know sometimes people bitch are like, "Oh, everybody's doing content, everybody's filming everything, blah 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 blah." And it's like, in instances like that, I don't mind. I'm all
Yes.
right with that because that
Yeah.
is something that I do want to remember later. If I were doing it, I would want evidence, and I
Yeah.
would want to look back on that fondly, which I know you'll definitely do.
Yes, absolutely. I was so grateful to have my husband film it. He was like, I even filmed the interview afterward, and I was like, thanks, that's great.
That is cool. What
Yeah.
so are there any well, let's talk about what's to come because there is a lot. We're excited. The first after by the time this comes out, this will come out before the first after time show that you're doing with them on the April 12th.
Yay. Okay,
So
cool.
April 12th, big day on the
Yep.
way.
Hell
Are
yeah.
there jitters? Are there nerves? Or are we
No
just like, let's go?
nerves. Let's go. It is a let's go vibe. I'm so excited to perform with the guys. It's going to be amazing. It's not only their first time performing in Canada, but it's my very first show with them at Hyperspace on April 12th. So I'm so excited about that. I'm also excited to hang out with them in person because for those who don't know, I live in Denver and the guys live out in Minnesota.
Yep, that's
Oh.
why we're here.
Yeah.
We're in Minnesota too. But yeah.
Nice. Yes, yes. So a lot of the interactions we've had have been virtual.
Yeah.
We have cross paths in person. Especially like if Chris is, he drives a lot of tours, bands. So like sometimes
Oh,
when
okay.
he's stopping through Denver, he'll let me know and I'm like, "Hey, you want to grab dinner or whatever it is." Um, so I'm excited to spend some quality time with them. So we have Hyperspace coming up and then we also have Legions of Metal Fest in Chicago
Ooh,
and we're
so many
playing
good things.
so many good things. I'm very excited about that. And then with Powerglove, I'll be performing with Powerglove in August at the Mile High Power Fest, which is a killer fest. They just started doing it last year, and it was awesome. And this year it's got a great lineup of bands, so hopefully get a real good turnout for that.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it all. Narcissa, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you
Of
so much for your
course.
time. We're
Oh my
excited.
God. Yes, thank you so much for having me. I had so much fun. Would love to come back.
Anytime.